Welcome to another episode of the Home Run Porch Podcast. I'm Kevin.
I'm Madison.
And today we want to talk about, we're mid-season, July of 2022, mid-season of the Twins. We'll talk about the major leagues overall, but we'll talk about the Twins specifically because we're massive Twins fans.
Yes.
We're in good position.
We are first place right now.
First place. We're two games up.
Yep.
2 games up of the Cleveland Guardians.
Well, let's talk about disappointing last season, right? to say the least.
I full honesty here. When they're out of it by the All-Star break, it's really hard for me to watch games.
Agreed.
I'll fade quickly. That's why even if they don't win the division or don't go to the playoffs, if they're competitive up through August and into September, I'll easily watch 130 games, even if it's just pieces of games, and then kind of keep on the what's going on day to day if I can't watch a game. Like I watched the whole game today.
Right. So, a very disappointing season last season. Mm-hmm. So, very interested. We were interested to see what would happen during the offseason because it's not like this team is a bad team. We're just replaced from a 2019 team, the Bomba squad, hitting a lot of homers, hitting the records. And so it's not like this has been a year by year bad team. So it was interesting, especially when they started to add all the pieces they did, which I think first we found out that Gio Urshela from the Yankees and Gary Sanchez were coming to the Twins.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was weird because we traded Mitch Garver, the catcher, to Texas for Isaiah Kinder-Falefa. Mm-hmm. And then the next day, Falefa was a Twin for about a day. Yeah. So then we flipped him and sent him to New York for Gio and Gary. Mm. So right away, that was kind of interesting. Like, what did you think when we added those two Yankees?
I didn't know enough about them to know whether they were going to help us right away. I was sorry to see him go.
Yeah.
The big surprise in the offseason was getting Correa. I mean, no one.
That was the biggest thing.
I forgot what it looked like. He was going to go to Washington or one of those teams. He's going somewhere else, and then suddenly it's like, boom, the Twins were in the mix.
The story for us, I think, was like more Trevor Story, maybe.
Yep.
Someone else. We thought we had no chance on Correa, right?
The funny thing is, Correa had a terrible April. He wasn't hitting home runs. He was batting like 200 or something like that. And I just remember going, wait, we spent all this energy on this guy, and this guy's going to be a saver. And a buddy of mine said, just hold on, hold on. Well, then, he's proven himself since he started to heat up. And he's so fun to watch. I mean, he's obviously been our best pickup because he's just got a gun of an arm. He's a great fielder.
Some of that, some of those plays where you're like, well, that didn't look too hard. Was like any other shortstop would be fumbling with an error before throw, But he just makes it look so easy, like some of those plays, and it's a nice addition, and I think it's taken a lot of pressure off Jorge Polanco.
Yes,
moving over to second base, maybe a little bit easier position, and kind of hasn't. I feel like Polanco's a great player, hitter, clubhouse guy, but I feel like he was feeling the pressure last season a lot. Like the hitting, it's on you, spark something, that kind of thing.
I think the big surprise of all those guys we've picked up is Urshela has turned into, because remember we started the season with Arias at third.
Yes.
And Arias is a decent fielder, but he's not a great fielder. And I think probably his best position is first base, and he's short, so that's an issue and all that. But he's our best hitter.
Yep.
And he has to be in the lineup. You don't bench that guy ever.
No.
And Urshela's turned into be just he's made some plays there.
Some
like,
great
oh
plays
my goodness.
at third base, and the bat isn't terrible.
How much did he play a lot for the Yankees?
No,
or no?
He wasn't a good player until he came to the Yankees and figured out how to hit a little bit.
Yeah.
He was also always a good defensive player, but when he came to the Yankees, he kind of really, I think he was 2016 Rookie of the Year with them.
Okay.
So he really figured out how to hit in the Bronx. And he's been a great addition. Some bad additions, maybe some of the pitching staff we got. What do you think? I know Taylor Rogers, one of the best closers in the league. We had him. His contract was through this season.
Yeah.
But we decided to move him in the offseason for Chris Paddock of the San Diego Padres and Emilio Pagan, a starter and a relief pitcher for the best closer in the league. and he still is the best closer.
Yeah.
One of the best closers in the league.
We so badly need middle inning relief, and I wasn't. I had a buddy of mine who was just irate when that trade happened. I said, I don't know. We need some middle inning relief, and you know when you're down by 5 runs, it doesn't matter how good your closer is. So that's what I was thinking. Is like, well, we need to stay competitive.
Luckily, we did fall into a closer with Yon Duran, though.
Yes, who's
amazing,
unbelievable. I mean, if he ever. I mean, he's got that 103 mile an hour fastball.
Yep.
If he ever finds another pitch that is equally as good,
it seems to be maybe that splitter, that splunker kind of. And if he can get that to a place where it's unhittable, he's probably going to be the best, one of the best closers.
And they wanted to, and he used to be a starter too, didn't he?
Yeah.
When he started out.
Yeah.
Boy, it'd be nice to see him starting throwing that ball.
I know, right?
Fast. I don't know. I mean, I would love to have a great closer. We don't we don't have that option right now. Like you said, he's probably our best option long term.
So coming in with these guys, coming to the beginning of the season, I was happy that they decided to make these moves because it's nice to be excited about a season, right? It's nice to be excited about a season coming in, having some new faces in the clubhouse, and then we're going through the season. Obviously, we're doing well above, that who knows what we thought than last season even, and we have a potential batting champion on the roster.
I think we do.
A couple all-stars.
Here's the thing. I think what's amazing is we've had a lot of injuries this season. I mean, a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
And at one point, we had 12 guys on the injured reserve list, which is insane. It was by far the most in the major leagues, and we were still in first place in winning games.
Yeah.
So talk about the next up philosophy, whoever's next in line.
Right.
So we've had a lot of guys that have had, player of the game type games, Celestino and some of those guys. Now it seems like,
two all-stars now,
Yeah, 2 all-stars who both represented themselves really well in the all-star game. Buxton hit a home run, and Arias got a base hit, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was good to see us finally get some recognition on the big stage, right?
Yeah. I thought maybe one of them was going to hit in the home run derby, but have they changed that? I haven't watched home run derby in a couple of years. It's just down to 8 people, right?
Yeah, the thing about the home run derby is I feel like sometimes players get judged by doing it because you could hurt yourself, I guess. Especially
those guys apparently the groove of their swing gets messed up for. The guy said that messed up for a month.
So it's I do like that Byron Buxton didn't do that, and So
he's so fragile. He just makes me nervous every time he's in something like that.
But this season has been one of his best seasons. Yeah. I think people were skeptical about Rocco doing the whole we're going to play Byron and then we're going to sit him down just to, have him recover. And then but I think it's worked out. People don't like him sitting on the bench, but I think it's worked out for his health-wise.
Yeah. I'll say it here, full disclosure, I'm not a big Sano fan. Sano getting
coming up on that decision today, what they say, a couple of days they're going to make a decision.
Him getting injured was actually good for us because suddenly he wasn't playing day to day, and Rise was starting at third, he was over at first, and then they sort of platooned first for a while, and then they just settled the Rise in there.
Yep.
And that's when gave Urshela the third base, basically, and he's turned out to be great over there.
And you flip between Kirilloff to,
Yeah, and Arias was not Arias. Sano was hitting 180 or something. Not even that. For a while he was batting 040 or something like that.
Unfortunately, you don't want to say it, but I think it happened at a perfect time.
Yeah,
where he got hurt, unfortunately, but was out of the lineup and kind of took a decision just out of the Twins' head. So, but now, like you said, Sano's a lineup stopper.
Here's the deal.
You get some momentum. He rolls a double play, strikes out.
Yeah.
It's just, but he's gonna come back. I think. And
here's my thought.
Give him a chance.
They've got to, but here's my thought on that. And they're not. You don't play him for 3 days and give up on him. You play him for 3 weeks and then decide.
He's got to get his at bats.
But boy, I still think we did the same thing with Big Papi. We gave him away. We gave him he played for the Twins for like 7 years. Now he's in the Hall of Fame this weekend.
Yep.
And there's no doubt he's a great player.
Yep.
But he wasn't a great player for the Twins.
A big playoff player.
Yeah. And I have this weird feeling that Sano's going to get traded to some team. He'll play for the Mets or something, and he'll be their Hall of Fame player. But if we could trade him now and we could get 3 pitchers, maybe a starter and 2 middle-inning relievers, or maybe 3 middle-inning, maybe a closer. I don't know. I don't know what that team would be. I don't know who those players would be. Boy, I wouldn't pass that trade up at all.
That fades us into the trade talk, right? I think he needs to be a part of a deadline move, you know. And like you said, if we get 3 pitchers, we can throw in, maybe someone else. I don't want to say Miranda because he's one of the hottest Twins right now, but someone else, and maybe get a haul back for pitching help, which is
there's a couple guys that are up there. I mean, Kirilloff, Miranda. I've heard Urshela's name, but I don't think they give up Urshela.
I don't think so.
I don't think they give up Celestino.
No, he's the only guy who could play center field.
Yeah, when Buxton's not in there. Yep. And then who do we have in left? We have
Nick Gordon potentially, maybe.
Yeah, and he's had a couple games where I would hate to see any of those guys go. I think Sano's a big enough name that you probably could get what we need with that trade. Now, let's say we get 3 players. Well, then you got to send a couple guys down.
Yep.
So you've got to make those roster moves.
You got to also remember here on the back end of this season wrapping up, Kenta Maeda will be coming back.
Oh my gosh,
he'll be coming back from his TJ.
I saw
the tall pitcher. Now I forgot his name. Bailey Ober. Bailey Ober will be coming back.
Yes.
So.
But here's the deal.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. You pull a couple of those guys in, and then maybe you take a starter and you put them in the bullpen.
Right.
That became Jim Cott's deal. He got put in the bullpen for years. I just watched this knuckleball video, and they put Tim Wakefield, who was shooting for 200 wins his last season of pitching, and they put him in the bullpen for years, or for a month.
Yeah.
And you look at a guy like that, and you go, okay. And you feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, it's like, this is what our team needs. Because I don't feel confident when anybody comes out of that bullpen.
Here's another thing to think about that I kind of don't want to think about, but another option for the front office is they could give up on the season.
Oh,
they could trade Correa, you know what I mean, to get some sort of haul back.
Like I don't think they're going to do that. That would. Oh no, I don't think they do that. That would be one of the dumbest things ever. Especially when we are in, I wouldn't say a weak division, but we are competitive with Chicago and Cleveland, and they're certainly going to have their moments, but we can make the playoffs and we can make a run. And that's what we need to do. We just need to make a run and see what we can. When Soto's name got tossed around, and the trade stuff, which seemed insane to me. One of them was like Soto it was like the entire Twins infield.
Whenever the dominoes fall for him, it might be the trade of the MLB's history.
Yeah,
you know
I like him. I think he's great. There's no doubt about it. But who has the money, the players, and there's only a few teams. It's the Yankees, maybe the Mets, it's the Dodgers.
The Yankees and Mets, I think, have already contacted the Nationals about
that. So they're interested.
Yep. So imagine
what position does Judge play?
He plays like all the outfields, I believe.
Okay,
not center field, but right field
okay,
outfield.
All right. So that wouldn't be an issue there. Okay.
So
I mean, that would be pretty amazing.
Imagine Soto playing left field for the Yankees. Think about it though. What's his face? Joey Gallo sucks. He's batting like 182. So who knows?
I don't think there's anybody on our team he replaces that we get value over what we lose.
Yeah.
So I don't think he comes to us.
I'm optimistic.
Plus, they're not going to pay him $440 million. The Twins are never going to do that. I don't think they'll have $440 million for the next 5 years combined for everybody.
But yeah, I'm optimistic. Okay. We'll make a run this season, so I'm excited to see what they do in the trade deadline.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see what happens. We'll talk about that actually in a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. See if they pick anybody up. Come back to this podcast at the end of the season, see how good we were. I think they make the playoffs. I do.
I agree.
I think they have to win the division to make the playoffs, but I think they make the playoffs. I think they're good enough. We got a few little things to tweak, but I don't think we have to do an overhaul of the team. So
definitely. So yeah, you're listening to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere where you get your podcasts.
Yes, check us out: YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher.
Interact with us. We're alive and well.
Yes. So thanks for listening. You're listening to the Home Run Porch Podcast. I'm Kevin.
I'm Madison.
Talk to you next week.